boa tarde and boa noite, good day, good afternoon and good evening. If you've just stumbled upon MYBITS, welcome. And if you've come back from last week's the first hello, welcome as well. Thank you for returning. Either way, I'm really happy that you're here. My name is Roberta, and today is the 30th of March 2023, about 12:30 p.m, and I am coming to you from the Botanical Gardens in Brisbane, actually at the Brisbane CBD. So these gardens are located a 5-minute walk from the centre, so the Brisbane Mall, probably maybe 8-minute walk, and they're a 5-minute walk from my office where I work. So I'm really lucky to be so close to such a beautiful place. The Botanical Gardens is quite big, so I get to find different spots to sit at and have my lunch sometimes. Probably don't come here as often as I should. But yeah, sit down, have my lunch, put my feet on the grass. It's actually quite nice. So that's where I am coming from today. So as I explained last week on the first hello, I will be reading a blog to you that I have written and published on ECHOEZ, that's ECHOEZ.com.au. So I'll do that, and then I'll finish up by sharing a quote. And this week it's going to be one of my all-time favorite quotes, one that I've been living by for the last few months and have shared with a lot of family and friends. So here we go. So this blog I published on the 12th of December 2021, and it's called True Heroes. Driving past a fire station on my way home this week, I read a sign on the wall saying, "Not all heroes wear capes." Although I'd heard that saying before, it actually got me thinking. We do grow up, or at least I did, with all sorts of heroes on TV. Heroes with some type of superpower or other. So for example, things that us mere mortals don't have. Invisibility, super strength, and the all-time favourite of flying. When asked as a child or a teenager what superpower I'd like to possess, if given the chance, I'd always refer to a superpower from a TV superhero, not even thinking to look at the superhero standing before me. I think it's a superpower heroes possess in movies and cartoons that lead us to believe that in order for us to be a hero, we need to be able to walk through walls and flip trucks with our pinky fingers. If only I could see then what I can see now. And that is what makes a hero is all around me and even within me. Now, let me introduce you to the image of what heroes really look like in my eyes. That is my mum, my mine, and my pai, my dad. Two people who can't fly unless they're on a plane, of course, and they can't walk through walls, although I've actually caught them trying to walk into walls on a few occasions. Now, Pai and Mine don't possess those cartoonish superpowers, but they do possess so much more that makes them superheroes in my eyes. I've often spoken to people about my dad and what he accomplished as a professional football player. Actually, those football people would kill me if I said soccer. It's football. But yet, I don't think I have ever spoken much about what they, my pai and my mine, accomplished together outside of football, which is much more important than fame and accolades, and it's so much more heroic. It was 1985 when my dad set foot in Australia for the first time. He arrived not knowing a word of English and alone. Brisbane City Football Club was at the time in the equivalent of the A-League today. And Pai arrived as the first Brazilian player to join the league. In the hoping of having a better future, my parents decided that Dad would stay in Australia for a period of time to determine if Australia would be a better place for them to raise my brother Giovanni and I. Now, of course, it wouldn't take long for them to decide that Australia was indeed our next home. But what they didn't take into consideration was that visas would take a long time to be granted. 2 years to be exact. So for 2 years, Pai stayed here in Australia and Mãe, Manu, my brother, and I in Brazil. For me, the heroism began when Pai and Mãe decided that they would leave their homeland to seek a better future for us. They would leave a place where Pai had built his name in the football world and where he and Mãe had an abundance of family and friends that they loved dearly. I only understood this a little better recently when I myself moved. Now, mind you, I only moved suburbs within Brisbane. So I went to live from the north, which I had always lived since arriving in Australia pretty much. And I changed to sort of more to the southwest. So it wasn't a huge change for me, but it affected me in a big way. So it actually got me thinking of what Pai and Mãe actually felt all those years back during their move to Australia, and it really did choke me up a little bit. It was a cool night in 1985 when Mãe, Manu and I landed here in Brisbane. Seeing Pai for the first time in 2 years was really pure joy, and I literally cannot describe the feeling of being able to hug my dad after 2 years of not seeing him. Now, we went from being a really big family, we are from a background of Italian, so we went from being from a really big family, like full of uncles, aunties, grandparents, cousins, to being a family of 4. My brother became my best friend, and my parents became the ultimate heroes. At the time of the move, I actually refused to eat anything other than watermelon because I missed the food from back home. And I think it was a bit of little me protesting the move over here because I felt so homesick. Now, my poor Mãe, as if she didn't have enough to worry about, and now she had to worry about that her child was only eating fruit. No, I didn't die. I survived on watermelon for a long time. But now try giving me watermelon and I literally can't eat it. Literally, like it's no, I can't have it. It's just one of those fruits that I think I ate so much of it that now I can't stand it. Manu, my brother, and I soon found ourselves in school. Now, not speaking a word of English meant we had to roll with the punches and find a way to communicate and make friends. I'll tell you right now that it wasn't easy. It was not easy being the different kid. And I often did get teased for being different. My hair in pigtails, my clothes looked different, my shoes were different. And look, I'm sure that all of the teasing and everything that I, as a child, had to navigate played a huge part in shaping me into the woman that I am today. Now, back then, Australian football didn't pay as well as it did in Brazil. So now, in his mid-30s, Dad had to find work outside of football. So he was playing and working. Now, that was something new for him. He had to work outside of football for the first time of his life. It wasn't easy at all for him. And my mum had to work as well. And that was the first time because in Brazil, she was a footballer's wife. And her job was to raise the children, travel around with Dad, interstate and overseas. And that was her job. Easy? No, it wasn't. So all in all, my parents flipped their lives upside down and changed every single little thing to provide my brother and I with a better future. The hardest thing, for me anyway, was not having our extended family close. In Brazil, we were never alone. The house was always full of family and friends. But now, here, we only had each other. Hearing the phone ring in the middle of the night here in Australia always brought a feeling of dread, as those midnight calls were generally to inform us that a loved one was unwell or had passed away. To this day, my heart actually pounds if the phone buzzes in the middle of the night. The memory of hearing that I had just lost someone I dearly loved and who I had not seen for years was hard to swallow. But somehow my parents, we got through it. I can't tell you how hard both of my parents worked here in Australia. They worked to learn the language. They worked to make friends. They worked to be understood. They worked to battle prejudice. They worked to make my brother and I happy. They worked to put food on the table and a roof over our heads. And they worked to keep us connected with our family and our roots back in Brazil. My parents friggin' worked hard. They worked so bloody hard. And sometimes when I stop to think about it, I honestly don't know how they did it. It brought me nothing but joy in 2021 seeing my parents sell our family home for a price that not only the real estate didn't expect, because they actually set a record for a post-war home in their area, but a price that was able to give them some freedom. Why does it bring me so much joy? Because my parents were looked down upon when they bought a humble post-war home in the suburb of Capera in Brisbane. Because they battled through sickness and tough times to pay for this humble home. Because they believed that a home is where love lives. And I can tell you that love is 110% what this home was made out of. And that is all that ever mattered to us. So in 1985, one Lettieri migrated to Australia. Now 36 plus years later, actually I wrote this in 2021, so close to 38 years later, there are 13 plus Lettieris, and counting, by the way. Now, we arrived with stars in our eyes and fire in our belly, and today, all of those years on, we continue to strive with the goodness within our hearts. My pai and my maing left all they knew behind to provide a better future for my brother and I. They didn't wear a cape while doing it, but they did wear love. Their whole being was pure love. Pai and maing, I want to take this moment to thank you for giving up your own lives in a place you called home to begin from zero in building a better future for Manu and I. I may never know everything that you gave up or went through, but what I do know is that the gratitude I have for your sacrifices is one that will forever be present in my own heart. In seeing the hero in you, I see the hero in me. The woman I am today is all thanks to you. I am forever, ever grateful to have the honour to call you maing and pai. Wow. You know, I wrote that and I have read it many times before, and so I didn't expect to get emotional, but the thing is that it does take me back to a lot. And my parents continue to be my pillar of strength and my heroes, and they always will be. I hope that you too have a pillar of strength in your life, whether it be a parent, a sibling, a friend, a work colleague. It's very important to be able to have someone that you can reach out to, where in moments of pure joy and also in moments where we need a hand. So I'm going to finish off with that quote, a quote that means a lot to me, and a quote that resonates with me quite a lot. And it's from none other than Albert Einstein. Now, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Yes, it's a good one, isn't it? Thank you once again for stopping in, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Ciao for now.